Welcome back. My name is Teresa and I'm very much alive. And if you're new here, welcome. I have an awful, garbage, filthy mouth where sometimes, just sometimes, but not all the time, but just sometimes, I tend to use the word fuck as a comma. I know it's disgusting. I should be stopped, but you're here. So you take life in your own hands. If you're not into that or weird stuff in general, then this is definitely not the place for you, baby. Feel free to exit out the video here. No harm, no foul. But I'll remember our time fondly. If you want to jump straight to the Natasha Denona review, I'll leave a time code down below. Feel free to jump ahead. I almost forgot how to do my intro. Cool. In any case, I had something weird actually happen to me the other week, and I was like, you know what? I totally forgot about this, and I get to share it with y'all. I love it when the universe gives me fun treats. I really do. I love Uber Eats, and as for someone who doesn't cook, and I honestly don't really care to know how to cook, despite what I sometimes say, I really don't care. I love Uber Eats because I love getting paired with the weirdest people on the planet. And it really reminds me how much I miss the subway. I really do. Anyway, the other day I was waiting for my delicious Thai food like the sweet angel baby that I am. I had my little mask on. Normally a lot of people do no contact. But for me, because I live in Queens and there's a rash of rabid raccoons that hunt around my neighborhood, I figured, you know what, I'll just meet them outside. Apparently all the raccoons like to terrorize this one block and I find it hilarious. Anyway, so I figured, you know what, why not get exercise? Why not just walk outside and just wait for my delivery? And plus they don't have to get out of their car, plus they don't have to walk into the building, and it's fine. Anyway, so I'm outside with my little mask on, and I normally go outside about a few minutes before they arrive. And I pretend not to be too excited when I see them, because nothing gives me more joy than seeing food being brought to me. I wish I could say I was lying, but that's obviously the truth. Anyway, so I'm outside, and something to note is that I'm wearing my Jaws shirt. Now, Jaws is my favorite movie of all time. I have at least 7 to 10 Jaws shirts, all different of course, and I love each and every one of them. And so at least once or twice a week, I'm wearing a Jaws shirt. It just happens. Anyway, so I'm wearing my Jaws shirt outside, and I'm cute as a button. So the driver pulls up. And usually what I like to do is I'll walk over to the car, we could do like a little drug handoff, and then I'm on my way. No, not this time. This guy double parked his car, got out, walked over to the passenger seat, took out the food, which to me was weird because he was sitting next to the food, but whatever. Anyway, I guess there must have been a force field or something in his car. So he got out, grabbed the food, and as he was walking over to me, he just did this.
Jenna, I'm here with your food.
A for effort, right? Oh no, it gets worse. I love Jaws, and I have never seen the iconic Jaws score sung in such a sexy way before. I'm trying my best not to let that ruin Jaws for me, but it's really difficult. Anyway. So as he's about to hand my food, I don't know what to do, so I'm smiling, and then I realize I'm wearing a mask, so I'm smizing, and I just say, thank you. Now before he gives me my food, which he is attempting to do so, and then he kind of snatches it back from me, he goes,
I love dumplings.
Fuck. What? He then pulls down his mask, because, you know, because that's what I love when people do that, when you're talking to somebody and you say what, and they just go, oh, and they just take their mask down. That gives me so much joy. Anyway, he takes down his mask and he says,
I love dumplings.
No, sir. So I say, don't we all? Because what do I say to that? I don't know. Man's holding my food hostage at this point. I feel like I have to listen to him now.
I really love them.
Me too.
Well, I see we have that in common.
You got me there.
If you want it.
I'm married.
And?
Happily? Like, sir, I don't want your stank dick on me. Just give me my dumplings. That's all I want. So as I'm trying to think of something witty and fun to say, he just says to me,
well, I love couples and I love dumplings.
All right.
Think about it.
I'm all set. I snatched my food out of his hand and I'm suddenly not hungry anymore. At this rate, if I keep getting him, maybe I'll lose weight. Yay! I love Uber Eats. But today I ordered Uber Eats. Well, thankfully I did not get Batman. Instead, when I went outside, the driver was approaching it as he was getting out of his car. His name was Chris. And I was like, hey, Chris. And he went like this.
How do you know my name?
The app says it.
What?
It's like, give me my fucking food. Anyway, I love Uber Eats. In today's video, we're going to be talking about two Natasha Denona products. The first one being the Glam Palette, followed by the Liquid Multichrome. So let me tell you a little bit about the palette first. An everyday palette that creates super dramatic smoky eyes as well as a variety of natural and extreme glam looks. This palette includes shade names after the ideal place to apply them, helping you recreate glam makeup looks. It's as if you have special insider makeup tips from Natasha Denona herself when you apply these shades. Ugh. All right. I'm sorry, but I honestly, that was just, come on. That was a little gross. For $65, what exactly do you get? And you get this beautiful little palette right here. Open it up, you get a nice little full-size mirror, and you get 15 shades. 15 shades consist of 9 metallics, 5 creamy mattes, and 1 Chroma Crystal. The packaging is in line with the other palettes that are in the $65 realm, and something to note that you can pop these little shadows out, ultimately mixing and matching your Natasha Denona palettes. All jokes aside, what I do find interesting and nice about this palette is that the shade names are helpful suggestions on where to place the eyeshadow. Now, this doesn't mean you have to follow it, but I find it useful considering I'm not a makeup artist, nor do I ever claim to be a makeup artist, and sometimes a bitch needs help. It's no surprise that I have a very love-hate relationship with this brand. I want to love them, and in return they usually give me eye irritation. It's great. Love that for me. When I saw the inside of this palette, I literally lost my mind, and I knew it was a got-to-have item that I got to have. Now in today's video, I'm going to show you 4 different looks I created using this palette, and you know what? Let's break it down by shade type. Like I mentioned, there are 5 mattes in this palette, and I found the mattes to be very creamy, very easy to use, easy to build. I had no issues with the pigmentation or blending the colors. There is a little bit of kick up, but there is no fallout. I just wish there were more transition colors. There's only 1 transition color in this whole palette, and I fear that it might not work for all. So I really wish there was at least another option in this palette. And honestly, the best matte shade in this whole palette, in my opinion, is the Lash Line shade. Holy fuck, that's amazing. I love how dramatic it is, but also soft at the same time. Now, I'm not really big into liquid liner because 1, well, I suck at it, and 2, I often feel like it can take over the whole look. So I love that the lash line color provides the dramatic flair of a liner, but also maintaining a certain softness where it doesn't look so harsh on the eyelid. And I find that it's the last step that completes the look. So there are 9 metallic shades in this palette, and they're so fucking lovely. They're so good. The formula is very smooth, very easy to pick up with a brush or a finger. I noticed that while the pigmentation is very strong when using a dry brush, I ultimately found that using NYX glitter glue, 1, kept everything in place, and 2, actually provided a little extra pop to the shadow. And the reason why I use NYX glitter glue is because my eyelids are fat as fuck. And they smush down like a fucking weird Shar-Pei dog, and I tend to transfer a lot. So I find that NYX glitter glue helps everything stay in place, and the reason why I don't use setting spray is because it gives me that spicy butthole effect that is the worst. I.e. a chemical burn, if you don't know what that is, but we all know what spicy butthole is. We all do, okay? The shades had great longevity, they were easy to use, easy to blend, easy to build, and they worked well with others. My only complaint with the metallic shades is the repetition of them. For example, the shades Center Eyelid and Brow Bone, those 2 shades have like the smallest of difference, but when you put them on the eyelid, they look almost identical. And when using them together, it becomes less of a gradient and just basically just one big shadow, so that kind of sucks. And I mean, honestly, it's not the end of the world, but I kind of wish that they omitted some of the metallic shades to put in more matte shades, especially to include more transition colors. Now the last formula in this palette, which is only one shade, and it's the inner corner one up here, and that is the Chroma Crystal shade. It's fucking great. It's definitely on par with everything else in this palette, except I find that the pigmentation is just a bit more stronger. When used in the inner corner or the lid, it's amazing. It looks so good. It has like that beautiful pop of brightness. Now there are two inner corner shades, and I would say the difference between those two is that the inner corner Chroma Crystal has a light sparkle to it. Not glitter bukkake sparkle, but the sparkles definitely stay in place. There's a beautiful reflectiveness to that shade. Now with that said, my other complaint with this palette is the variety of looks you can do with it. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like you can make solid looks every time you use this, but there's not enough variety in my opinion to make the look stand out. Furthermore, this is a very glam palette. And while very easy to use and quite frankly really fun to play with, some of these shadows can be a bit too jazzy, a bit too dramatic for the everyday wear. Then again, you know what, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up with that right now because we're living in a pandemic where tomorrow is definitely not guaranteed. So if you want to have a dramatic smoky eye while getting your COVID test, who the fuck am I to tell you otherwise? You'll be the prettiest bitch in the urgent care, that's for goddamn sure. So you could actually scrap what I just said. So with that said, glam it the fuck up. But all jokes aside, I'm actually really impressed with this palette. I had no issues with blending, pigmentation, longevity, staining, fallout, and most importantly, I didn't experience any sort of eye irritation, which is a fucking win in my book. I believe this palette is not a limited edition piece. So while I totally believe that it's actually worth the price tag, don't feel like you need to rush out and get it. Whenever you feel ready, it's available for you. So whether you get it now or you wait till the Sephora sale happens, whenever the fuck that happens, because I can assure you, when you do, you'll be in love. So the next product we're gonna be talking about is the Natasha Denona Chromium Liquid Eyeshadow. And yes, I got all of them. I don't know who I am. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about the product first. A shadow that features a jelly texture with fresh, hydrating feel and creates a multi-chrome finish with color shift at different angles of light reflection. Now these boys retail for $28 a piece. Yep, you heard me, $28 a piece. And considering how fucking small they are, that is sheer lunacy. However, these are everything. These are fucking everything. I love multi-chromes, and I firmly believe that multi-chromes can save 2020. Or at the very least, we will all look very pretty as we cry into hysteria, one way or the other. Anyway, I was so intrigued by this product because I usually don't have the best experience when it comes to liquid eyeshadows. And I really had to know for myself if this was any good. Listen, I'm a glutton for punishment. Liquid eyeshadows is one thing, but multi-chrome liquid eyeshadows, bitch, I need to know. Now, I've never tried any liquid shadows from Natasha Denona before, and the reason for that is because I have such eye irritation with their powder shadows. I figured, why torture myself more? And then I saw that they were multi-chromes, and I was like, I got to have them. So initially, I only purchased one shade, and that was the shade Scarab, and I was so intrigued by it that I was like, fuck it, I need the rest of them, and that's why I picked up the remaining 4. These are so fucking cool. They are so cool. I really enjoy playing with these shadows. And I definitely am still gonna be doing a video in the future where I talk about a bunch of multi-chromes. I've amassed a small collection, but I'm currently testing out 2 different multi-chromes, liquid multi-chromes, and I wanna like just play with them a little bit first and then make a big video about all the different multi-chromes that I have in my collection. So definitely be on the lookout for that in the future. These are fucking wonderful and so far the best that I have tried in terms of liquid multi-chromes. Like I mentioned, there are 5 shades in this collection, and I thought, you know what, let's be cute and let's do eye swatches. I regret that decision so much. Has nothing to do with the product, but I have very sensitive eyes, so I didn't think about that when I was like constantly removing my makeup and putting it back on, and I didn't even put liner or mascara or anything over it, purely just an eye swatch, but it was enough for me to like cry. So I give a lot of credit for those that do eye swatches. Holy shit, that is definitely fucking amazing. That's something I will never do again. But I figured for this, it just totally made sense to do eye swatches. Plus you could kind of see how it looks on the eye. Now the reason why I wanted to get all the shades is that I wanted to see if there were any formula differences. And I'm happy to say that I had the same experience for the most part in terms of wear time and comfortability on the lid. Now some of the shades did require a second coat, and that is Ultraviolet, Infranude, and Dogbane. They apply great using an applicator. However, because I don't have a lot of lid space, I apply the color with the applicator and then use a small concealer brush to disperse the product. When I normally use traditional powder multichromes, I find that if I don't use glitter glue, the shade lifts after 5 to 6 hours of wear. I'll notice definitely big crease marks and it's not cute. Now when I've used these liquid multichromes, I use just my traditional base that I normally usually wear, which is a NARS Soft Matte Concealer, and I just applied the product on the lid. And I did not use any sort of NYX glitter glue. The longevity of these shadows are just so unreal. There have been times where I've worn them for about 10 to 11 hours and they still look as good as they did when I first applied them, which is fucking insane. Now, my biggest gripe when it comes to liquid shadows, and the reason why I don't have a very large collection of them, is because I find that usually a lot of liquid shadows, they tend to flake off and they crunch up and they either feel heavy or weird on the lid. I am so impressed with the formula of these shadows. I found that these dry down pretty fast, and I really, really love how well they work together. My favorite thing is actually using the shades Scarab and Dragonfly. Fucking sign me up. I just love how great it looks together. They basically give you like a nice acid trip. It's just so fucking nice. I love it. I found that these shadows were very creamy, they were lightweight, and when they do dry down, it doesn't feel like concrete on the lid. It feels like you have nothing on your eyes at all. It doesn't flake, it doesn't break, it doesn't do anything. It stays put. And I can honestly say they are genuinely a hydrating formula. As someone who has very dry skin, this is so comfortable. I cannot believe it. And I really love how easy they are to use. While yes, during the kind of the wet stage of them, they can transfer, so you need to be careful, but they do dry down pretty fast. And when you do tap them down, you do not get any sort of transfer. It's fucking unreal. These are straight up witchcraft. I am convinced of that. And I honestly can't believe that this is another Natasha Denona product that I am obsessed with. It just really goes to show you that 2020 is a fucking wacky year. With that said, these are fucking tiny. I think you get 0.08 grams of product. Like, these are fucking tiny. And they also have a 6-month shelf life. So, that's expensive. If I'm gonna be real with you, you don't need these. You don't need them. They're fucking great, but you don't need them. I think my preference would lie more with indie companies. Well, I think, like I said, these are they're fantastic. I think if you want to get more bang for your buck, definitely go look at some indie companies. One, it's a powder product that has a longer shelf life, and it's definitely at least 10 bucks cheaper than this. At least. And I'll make sure to link some of the companies down below that I think are fantastic. Now, with that said, if you do find yourself really, really, really wanting these, then my recommendations, while I do love all of them, I really think the true standout for me is the shade Scarab. And honestly, it's because it's a fucking Bog Queen stream. They're all really great, but I'm just a sucker for green. Let me know down below how you feel about any of these products, whether you're gonna pick them up, whether you have them, if you have different thoughts, blah, blah, blah. Let me know, because I love hearing from y'all. And with that said, I wanna say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it as always. Feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, it's free, and hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. To all my beautiful, lovely little patron members, I adore your little faces so much. You have no idea. And I just want to say thank you so much, as always, for keeping this disgusting, disgusting garbage boat afloat. I could not do it without you. And I can't wait for the day that I get to love up on you. If you want to know what is currently on my face, along with where to get these products, my merch, my podcast, blah, 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 everything will be listed in the description box below. And I'll see you little pumpkins later. Bye.